No. But if they do get their flagship, then Portugal can hit and run, like, really quickly. Because they have the amphibious offload, load-unload bonus. And also, yeah, Commonwealth, having taken a bunch of Muscovy, is going to have a lot of AE. Although, they're not fighting Catholic powers. The Catholic world is like, eh, it's fine, take it. They're heretics anyway. No, the Turks are a buffer state to the Egyptians. It would make more sense for them to consolidate Arabia and become a trade superpower. Yeah, precisely. Mamluks should let the Ottomans fight their wars for them. They should fund them heavily to make sure that the Ottomans don't falter in that duty. And also that just the sheer quality of the Ottomans is that much higher. And they didn't lose very much. I think the fact that they peaced out so early actually went in their favour. I'm not saying that was a bad move. I think that was actually a fairly good move, especially considering they gave up 4 provinces. Even if one of them was the gold coal mine. Actually, that's a point. How much coal does the Commonwealth have? A lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So come the industrial era, 1700s, the Commonwealth's economy is just going to go and take off. And the Mameluke war against the Timurids didn't have to do very much. Means the Mamelukes can now focus entirely on Hormuz and Aniza, which is actually a march, so they don't need to worry about that too much. Ethiopia has successfully consolidated against Yemen and Marahan and is continuing to do that. Congo is playing it pretty quietly. What's Congo gone for? Ideas. Innovative and defensive. Defensive, really. I think in Congo's position right now I would go exploration. Or maybe expansion. Probably expansion. Because they can already see all of this uncolonized land. Take it. Just get expansion, just take it. It's the obvious way to go. And then that's also going to give you the borders against Muskoga, which nobody else can really come up against. And then take Matapa and Kilwa, which is some of the wealthiest territory in Africa. Simply because the quality of the trade goods there is insane. Look at how much ivory there is. Look at how much gold there is. That could all be yours, Congo. That could all be yours. This was just a border skirmish, really. The Ottomans should start making deals with the other powers and do an early a Polish partition. I would be very surprised if such talks weren't already in progress. Oh dear, we have a graphical glitch. Get rid of that. Yes. So where is Andalusia colonizing right now? That's what I'm interested in. Baiano. So they're still going for Cuba. And Rio de Janeiro, they're starting in Brazil. That looks like a colony the AI has started. I'm not sure that's exactly where they want to go. Especially as they've already got a colony in Amazonas and haven't actually started doing the colonial nation there. And this is just going to add even more reason for a conflict with Brazil, with Portugal. Has Denmark started colonizing? No. Denmark's culture converting. Oh, Denmark's converting the English and the Scottish to Danish. Interesting. So Denmark is going for a very tall game here. I'm not convinced that's necessarily the right idea. Culture conversion is very expensive and the results always seem to be very marginal. Or the change seems to be marginal. Can I show you what's going on in India and Indonesia? I can. Vijayanagara continues to expel the Bahmanis. Doesn't seem to be fighting Orissa at all. Their income is looking extremely healthy. I think I might actually try and convert some of that into better advisors so that you can get some more monarch points going. They do have a bunch of armies sitting very suspiciously near the new Portuguese territories. What's your alliance chain like? You're currently allied to Portugal, the Mamelukes, Ethiopia, Brunei, and Malwa. Having Vijayanagara in this war, or if the Ottomans were to ally Vijayanagara, then that would be a good counter to the Timurids. Because Vijay could march through Sind and hit the Timurids from behind, effectively knocking the Timmies out, so that Mamelukes and the Ottomans can then focus on the Commonwealth. Although what that does for Vijayanagara is another question. Brunei, meanwhile, continues to colonize. They're getting more and more of Australia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once this colony is finished, then they will have the colonial nation of Australia done. Meanwhile, how are they doing in Argentina? They've got 3 provinces here. Oh, rather Chile, I guess that is. And that will get them up towards the Incas. In fact, they can use this as a staging ground to go towards Brazil if they wanted to, or just continue on the Pacific side. Meanwhile, the Dutch are working on Zwanendale, and then also Chesapeake. Manhattan's been taken by Ireland. We've also got Massachusetts, so Ireland's doing the good thing. They're going for the centre of trade areas, which Holland... Oh no, Holland got Chesapeake, but that's the only one. I think that Ireland is playing the colonial game here more intelligently than Holland is right now. Although, development here is level 10. So Holland's going for the dev territories, while Ireland's going for the trade territories. Ireland has one station on Newfoundland, but I suspect that's just to allow them to reach the colonial US. And Diviet, who is also a player but is not here today, seems to be keeping a fairly low profile at the moment. That's kind of what I was expecting. Well, that's a big Ava. Ava are a nation that interests me. I think they'd be kind of interesting during multiplayer. They'd be very hard to kill. They'd be like the ultimate tall nation. Do they have any development cost reductions? Just out of interest. Morale, infantry cost, combat, cavalry combat, prestige, force limit. Stability, cost of advisors with ruler's culture, minus 20%. And that stacks up with the fact that they are Theravada, which gives them even more culture advisor cost reduction, which means loads and loads of monarch points. Advisor cost minus 10%. They effectively have a minus 30% advisor cost. If they went with innovative ideas, that would be even more. Tuhut's still alive. Very happy to see. Haven't expanded or done anything really. Delhi continues to expand into Jaunpur. So Delhi could be a bit of a threat to the Timurids. In fact, having such large blocks in India is interesting. But India is still fairly fragmented. It is going to make it a little bit more difficult for Vijayanagara to expand, depending on what the alliances here look like. And Vijayanagara is choosing alliances which are outside of India. So within India, they're actually looking a little bit shaky, especially as Malwa is currently at war and being occupied by Jaunpur. Although Jaunpur is on the way out. So Jaunpur allied to Delhi. Sorry, Malwa allied to Delhi. Yeah, see, this is a pretty strong block. Who's Sind allied to? Hormuz and Delhi. Delhi's got a lot of allies in India. Well, these 3. Timurids haven't formed the Mughals yet to get Indian units, which is slightly stronger and amazing government. True, and in fact Timmy needs to go after Delhi, which they are doing right now, because Delhi is distracted by Jaunpur. So Timurids are fighting... Oh no, they're fighting Uzbek, which just happens to be Delhi too. Timurids are way more interested in Siberia. I'm not entirely convinced that's the right move. Moving north to block the Commonwealth? Sure. But moving northeast? I'm not convinced. Although this could just be a way of splitting Delhi away from their allies. That is true. So if you declare war on the Uzbeks, who are only allied to Fergana, Malwa, and... That's Delhi. Stupid. Click, 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 click. Uzbeks, who are only allied to Fergana and Delhi, that's going to be a much easier war than going against Delhi and everyone else. Because otherwise you'd be up against Delhi, Sindh, and Malwa. Although Malwa right now are looking kind of weak. Alva's over here. Haha. See, don't underestimate Alva. Vijay is looking to form Bharat. Probably. Japan has formed. Japan has indeed formed. And has a little bit of Korea. Ming has taken over North Korea, meaning that Japan cannot use Southern Korea as a staging ground, but they've already taken some of Manchuria, so they will be able to expand out from there. And maybe get into Siberia. I don't know what their long-term plan is, though. Admin ideas and offensive ideas, so that's a very militarized Japan. Bearing in mind that this is, I think, the first time that Japan player is actually playing as Japan. So he is dealing with a lot of AI decisions there. Meanwhile, in the rest of the world, Europe looks relatively quiet. Who's Brunei fighting against? Brunei is currently fighting against Bali and Palembang, so Brunei is trying to expand their holdings over Indonesia. Probably somewhat alarmed by the fact that Portugal has appeared over here. And down here. Brunei has taken over Holahavi, which is a very, very good naval base. Like, you can reach a lot of stuff from this. So Brunei might well be thinking of trying to jump off into Africa. Brunei is definitely thinking of jumping off into Africa, or at least they've given themselves the potential to do so, going after Kilwa and Mutapa. Like, Congo's really shooting themselves in the foot by being this passive. Like, they need to do something. They really need to get expansion, I think. They need to cancel defensive and take expansion. Although expansion's another admin, so they can't. It would have to be exploration. Which is a bit too bad. Meanwhile, Mali. What is Mali doing? I suspect Mali is spending most of their time recovering from the war against the Europeans, because they did get kind of shattered in that. They have taken expansion, so they are going to be able to colonize, and are staying very far away from the coastline, which is probably wise. What are they colonizing right now? Nothing. The colonist is free. Ethiopia, meanwhile, still has religious ideas, and let's actually take a look at this. So Ethiopia's stated goal was to turn the world Coptic, and they're actually doing a fairly good job of it. They're pretty well entrenched. They've converted pretty aggressively the territories they've taken, and aren't dead yet. And actually, let's take a look at the rest of this. So Ireland and Portugal are the only player nations that remained... Oh no, and Sweden. Those three are the only player nations that remained Catholic. France notably has gone reformed, which actually means war fervor plus elan plus defensive ideas. That's what, 20, 35, 45% morale bonus right there. That's scary. Like, if you wanted anyone to come against the Commonwealth, it would be France. Especially because Austria has been a long-time ally of the Commonwealth. France would be the one to take down Austria. How much militarization has Austria done? This has also been a very quiet Austria. I think purposefully so. Austria's just trying to fly under the radar, because they are definitely surrounded by bigger nations, but then Austria usually is. And they've been quietly expanding. Like, that should not be ignored. And also the fact that they've taken the very wealthy North Italy. I suspect that Austria is gunning to go after Naples sometime soon. So what ideas do they have? Economic quantity and innovative. So quantity means that their armies aren't actually going to be that strong. There's just going to be a lot of them. It's a popular choice. Not for me, but other people like it. Economic, good to underpin the economic power of your nation, especially if you want to afford the armies that quantity allows you to get. And then innovative is just a solidly all-round choice. It means you keep up with the technologies, means you can get better advisors, means you have more monarch points, and it also means that you can get the monthly war exhaustion reduction, which is kind of a hidden military benefit of innovative. Plus you can get another leader. Can I see what's going on over in Japan? I suspect war with Korea? They are currently fighting against Bali. Are you allied with Ethiopia? Oh, sorry, Brunei? Yes, you are. I saw blue and said Ethiopia. So Japan is allied to Brunei, who's going after that. So that's going to be two major naval powers over here. Brunei and Japan. I'm not entirely sure how Dai Viet will factor into the alliances over here. Dai Viet's allied to the Timurids. They do have a guarantor. And they're also a tributary to Ming. Which I believe Brunei is not. And Japan definitely isn't. Japan actually has their own tributaries. Ito and Yeren. Yeren's there, and then Ito is one of these. I think. I thought. Apparently not. Where is Ito? Oh, it's there. It's one of the daimyos. Who Japan didn't kill. Interesting choice. That's a big Korea. I have seen Korea get bigger, and I think that Korea has been smashed by Ming a few times. They have high liberty desire. How is Ming's mandate? Really low. They're working their way through the reforms, which is probably why, and their increase is pretty high. But the reform right now is low, so Ming is somewhat vulnerable. So what's the Commonwealth doing at the moment? Improving relations with the Pope. But you weren't reformed, right? No. Oh, the Commonwealth remained Catholic. But the League War's already fired, so we're going to see a Protestant emperor. Let's actually take a look at that. The HRE, the current emperor is Prussia. Austria is an elector and is voting for Prussia. Prussia is an elector and is voting for themselves. Holland is an elector and voting for Holland. And Holland has actually got the Palatinate and Bohemia. So Holland is going to be the next emperor. That's a bit of a rivalry between Prussia and Holland there. And all three of them would be a very interesting choice for emperor. I think Holland is mostly doing it to deny these two. Prussia as emperor would be scary because that means that Prussia would have a lot more force limit and a lot more money than their size would suggest. And kind of the same thing for Austria, though Austria generally plays the diplomatic game better, like the AI diplomatic game. The Mamluks have changed into Arabia. They have. Did they keep the ideas, though? Yeah, they kept the Mamluk ideas. That's wise. Mamluk ideas are really strong. Cavalry combat ability plus 10, trade steering plus 25, provincial trade power plus 25. So that provincial trade power means that his centres of trade are even stronger. Trade range, global trade power, prestige. 50% manpower recovery is pretty nice. Discipline, production efficiency, stability cost modifier, and trade efficiency. However, he's lost his government. He's become an Ictor. Huh. So, I'm not sure that was worth doing. You've basically just got a fancy new colour, lost your unique government, and become an Ictor. The Mamluk government is one of the reasons the Mamluks are so strong. So suddenly, the Mamluks are going to be paying massive amounts for their advisors, which means their economy will suffer. What are Arabia's national ideas? They're actually a bit rubbish. We were looking at that earlier. Arabia gets national manpower modifier 15%, which is Oh no, they have manpower recovery. Minus 15% land attrition, which is good in the deserts. 15% trade steering. Mamluks of 25. Cavalry cost minus 10. Cavalry flanking ability plus 25 versus the plus 10 combat ability, which I think is stronger. Minus 1 unrest, which is decent, but it is only minus 1. Most other nations get minus 2 when they have that modifier. Plus 1 missionary strength, which is, again, it's only plus 1. Like, Castile gets plus 3, I think. Plus 10 global trade power against Mamluks plus 5. But they don't have any trade efficiency, they don't have any trade range, and their trade steering is reduced. Land leader maneuver, plus 1. I mean, that is probably the only thing decent. Oh, and land leader shock. So, Arabia's leaders are going to be slightly better. They both had the yearly prestige. Arabia loses out in the discipline, so the Mamluks' ideas are definitely better. I think this was a poor choice. Like, when I played as the Mamluks, I did not switch to Arabia because I thought it was a downgrade. Arabia's ideas could definitely do with another look, because the Mamluks are just better. Colour is better and the flag is cooler. So what?